Hi, this is Kathryn Raaker of Let's Just Talk. We have some wonderful guests today on our show. We have, actually they're my friends, which makes it even better, and they belong to my pro group. Hello. We have Ed Acheson, and we have Michele Devoe of Devoe Acheson Photography. Really unusual name, right? I'm so tickled that you're here with me today on our show. Actually, I've been wanting to have you on our show for a long time, actually. And so one of the things that we did the other night was we went through a photography session, right?
Yep.
We're going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about why you love and how you started in photography in the first place. Now, aren't you a patent lawyer?
I am a patent attorney.
Patent attorney. And Michele, what do you do during the day?
I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm a department head.
You're the department head of mechanical
engineering
engineering. So that's the reason why you're so technical. Is that right?
Pretty technical.
You're pretty technical. Okay. Are you technical?
I am, let's say, loosely technical.
Loosely technical.
Which
Would
is
that
not
be a
entirely
fair-
true because his degree is in
Mechanical and aerospace engineering.
So we're both engineers, which is kind of scary.
Yes. But she knows how to engineer and I know how to patent.
You know how to patent, you know how to engineer. Okay, got it. All right, so let's see, how did your business start? How did you meet originally? That is important. And most people would love photography anyhow because it's so fun, right? Right?
We think so.
Oh,
You think
yes.
so?
Yes.
Okay, so how did you meet
We met having fun, in realities.
in reality?
We
Okay.
met through Scouts,
Right.
and the first time we probably crossed paths was 2001, 2000.
So you were both in Scouts?
Yes.
Yeah, we've both been in Scouts.
Scouts leaders, or
Yeah.
that's right?
Yeah.
Do you both have boys that grew up in Scouts?
Yeah, we both
Yes.
have Eagle Scout sons.
Oh, you're Eagle Scouts. Okay.
And
they
Ed's
were
an
Eagle
Eagle
Scouts.
Scout.
Okay, and you're an Eagle Scout.
I am.
Okay. So it started with your Eagle Scouts, right? And your families knew each other.
No.
No.
No, we
So-
lived on the opposite
Yes.
side of town.
As far away as you could in Cincinnati.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So where did you live?
I live on the west side in Cleves.
Where did you live?
I lived in Anderson on the east side.
Oh, you're talking major far.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, like Passport far.
Yeah, passport far, especially for West Siders. They
Yes.
tend to be that way. I'm a West Sider. I grew up here. What can I tell you? And then I went to the world. I went out to see the world, and you did too, right?
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of traveling, and we've actually.
And you have too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you, with the two businesses, you're still full-time doing what you're doing
Yep.
with your careers?
Yes.
Do you want to ever get away from that eventually and just do photography or not?
I think it could go that way once we choose to retire, but I don't think that we will choose to do that in lieu of what we're doing now.
Right, because it's exciting.
Yes.
Because it's exciting and because
Makes good
it's
money.
more fun. The photography is more fun when we don't have that pressure
Right.
involved associated with making a living. So we pick the jobs that we want to do. We create the adventure. We're trying to create memories for people. So if we felt that we had to take jobs because we had to have enough money to survive on, it would take some of the fun out.
And is
Yes.
your husband, you're married
I'm
still,
married.
and you're divorced,
I
right?
am,
You're
yes.
available, right? I'm just joking. And so your husband is a good friend of Ed's, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And so it works out really well.
Yeah, so my husband Dan is pretty amazing. He gives me a lot of freedom, which is probably a good survival mechanism for both of us.
Right.
And so he is happy. Sometimes just like we cycle a lot too, which is another way that we know each other. Dan is very happy to let me do it and to not have to do it himself.
Right, I know that feeling. My husband hates to swim, and I love swimming. I love the ocean. I love being close to water. And I don't know if he'll move there, but he better, if I want to move there. And if I could have, and he loves golf, which I love too. I'm not a good golfer, like to become a good golfer, and I work in the golfing world too. So I understand that. And he's given me lots of freedom, which I think when you're an independent woman, You don't want to.
You have to have that.
You got to have it. You got to
that's
find
a
that.
relationship
That's
survival
Right.
criteria.
Right. So that's what I've always enjoyed about our marriage is that he's so understanding and he works with me, which is good. Sometimes not so good, some other times, but that's just the way it is, you know, after almost 50 years of marriage.
Right.
Right? And you've been married how long?
34.
34 years, long time. Now, you each have children. How old are they before we go on any farther?
I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Wow.
So I have a boy 32, a girl 31, a boy 27, and a girl 25.
Oh, wow.
4
And
kids.
do they live all around here?
No, 4 kids in 4 states. They're all over the place.
I know that feeling. Now, what about you?
I have one son,
Right?
a grandson, and a granddaughter.
Do you get to see them all the time?
I don't see them as often as I'd like, but I will tell you I'm certainly in denial about being a grandfather.
Why?
My grandfather didn't do the kind of crazy things I like to do, like biking and being outside.
Hey, we're not our
No.
we are not like our parents or our grandparents.
So I just...
That's why you're fit.
Yes, we love to ride. Last weekend we were on a 3-day ride.
Wow.
So,
Wow. 3 days. Whoa. And when you went, well, we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but you went on a long journey around the country, correct?
We did. One of my dreams was to ride my bicycle across America, and I talked Ed into it. So we rode from San Francisco to Boston. It was 4,200 miles, and it was in 79 days. We, of course, took camera gear with us. So we had one pack that was on our handlebars that was just for our camera gear, and we met someone along the way who was riding a lightweight bike. We had fairly heavyweight bikes to handle the gear, and we picked up his bike, and it was lighter than just our camera gear.
We know all about camera gear, believe me. I mean, camera gear has changed over the years. So you see our camera, how small it is today. We had one that was that big, just like yours. And it was a pain in the butt to carry it all the time. And so when the new cameras came out, and even the new cameras in the studios came out, it was like, oh my gosh, what a change. Made it a lot easier. And even doing a camera shoot, like in Florida, my one gal that is one of my camera gals, she and I carried all the gear in 2 carry-ons.
wow.
And we had to change planes. So we couldn't check it because if we checked it, because like you know, the shoot was that same day. And if they would have lost the cameras, we would have been whatever. Right? So you can understand that, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So what was the most exciting thing that you came up with when you decided to form your company, and why did you decide to do it?
We had been shooting together for a number of years on a volunteer basis for Scouts.
Okay.
So we already had a good history of experience, and we had quite a bit of equipment.
Right.
But we decided to make it official because it gave it more purpose, a more clear purpose, and we wanted to provide the service to other people outside of Scouting. So for us, it's all about fun. A lot of time, not exclusively, but we shoot a lot of senior pictures, and we try to capture their personality in the pictures. So Ed made the comment that he was in a friend's office and he had his senior pictures, and there was one hugging a tree and one up against a wall, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just not what our vision is.
Those are
when we
the
take
generic
pictures.
senior pictures.
Really? Hugging a tree?
Leaning
Well-
up next to a tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to tell, and when he comes into town, I want you guys to meet him and let you shoot him, because unfortunately, he's still in that mode. He's an author, he's a political commentator, and the pictures he sends us are not the best in the world.
Not creative.
No, and we're changing his whole website, and we're trying to capture him in different modes. And it was funny because he sent the pictures to me, and then I sent him to Pat Sternkorb, who's a good friend of yours, and she went, no, we're not using that. So on that note, we have to take a short break.
Okay.
So would you give your website out so people can find you and see what you do?
Absolutely. Our website is Devoe Acheson Photography.com.
And we'll be right back after these important messages with Michele, Devoe, and Ed Acheson right after these messages. We're back on Let's Just Talk with Ed Acheson and Michele Devoe of Devoe Acheson Photography. And you know, we were talking about it being fun, right?
Absolutely.
It's a creative experience that's fun to do. And, you know, when I just have to share this with you because it's part of what I like to do too. When you came over that day to do those photographs with me a couple days ago, I have been doing I've been doing sessions and photo sessions for a long time. And we do a lot of action stuff. So when she said to me, I want you to do this, it's just automatic for me anymore because I've stood on ladders. I mean, we've done all of that kind of good stuff. And it's just fun to do it because then you see these pictures and they go, whoa.
Yeah, what you think you're going to get and what you get is sometimes...
It's totally different.
It is.
Right?
It
right.
is.
So tell me, how difficult was it for you two to create your company, and who's the boss? Or are you both?
I don't think we have a boss. Do we?
No, we just have different strengths.
Yes.
Okay, what's your strength, Michele?
I tend to interact more with people, and I tend to take the pictures, but Ed's strength is the lighting. He actually, technically, he knows so much more about the lighting, and if I say, this is what I have and this is what I want, all of a sudden he knows exactly where to move things.
Right.
And
So my phrase is, it's all about the lighting and other things.
Right. Well, and I think
He's also the one that always wants to have the latest gear. So he's the spender.
Oh, I'm the spender. I'm the spender. Because the thing is that I want all the latest gear. I want to do all the latest technology. And it sometimes frustrates my partner. I understand that. You know, I mean, Ed, you actually worked with my husband when he had to go to a new software package. You remember that?
Yes.
Thank God you were around. I really needed you. You know, and it's nice to have somebody that really understands that technical part of it, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you love to do Photoshop, I hear.
I do love Photoshop because for me, the goal is to make people look the best they can. And it's all about the lighting. So there's a difference, for example, if I take my phone out and I take a picture, I can capture the moment, but when we get the right lighting and then we enhance it in Photoshop, it really makes people pop. So it's all about when we know we have a good picture when the eyes are smiling or when the eyes are intense.
Right.
People can curl their lips but not have
It's
life
not the
in their
same.
eyes.
No, and that's the whole thing in a nutshell. It's in your eyes, right?
Oh, yes.
Right, and you'll have that look if you're comfortable in your environment. So if you're in an uncomfortable stance or you're uncomfortable in your situation for some reason, it's kind of hard to relax enough to really let your expressions show on your face, at least the expression you want to capture.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important for us to create that atmosphere where people are relaxed and comfortable. So
You have some examples that you can show our audience, right?
we do. So this example
Mm-hmm.
is a picture of a young man who likes to rock climb. And he took us, we actually went to Columbus to do this shoot. There's a place where he and his friends always go. There's a waterfall.
Wow.
There's a really nice brook. And he said, this is my favorite place to sit, except it's way up there in that rock. I'm like, okay, you go for it. So
Right.
he went up there and climbed, and I climbed up, and I had somebody kind of holding on to me so I wouldn't lose my footing
Right.
to capture this so that we could see what he sees when he's in his special place.
Right.
And besides the camera, there is the lighting that had to climb up too.
Right.
Oh, right.
So I'm up there with the camera, Ed's up there holding the light and
Right.
holding onto my leg to make
Right.
sure that both are secure and in place.
And that's the tough thing that people don't understand are those kind of shots, right?
Right, but he knows,
He
and that's
knew.
a great memory for him.
It's going to be super for him. Did he love the pictures? I bet he did.
He did. And then this other one is basically in a very close location to the first.
Right.
But he's down by the water, and we had him squat down so that we could get his whole body.
Where was this place?
Into a
I think
shot.
I've been there before. Do you
I
remember?
don't, it's a small park in
It's a
Columbus.
small park. I don't remember.
Actually, I guess it is a park that actually this young man had been going to for years,
Right.
and then it became so popular, they fenced it off and put in a walkway. So instead of just being able to kick
Oh.
around, so he'd been going there since he was a little kid, I think, and I don't know how little.
Right, right.
But that's part of it. Our goal is you look at the pictures. If you look at a lot of senior pictures that you'd see out there, you'd think they're all the same, have the same interests. They go to the same place. And our goal is to make sure that it shows what they do, what they like.
Right. So let's talk about some other ones. You do things with animals, don't you?
Yeah, and animals, I suppose, could provide a special challenge, but again, when there's a relationship between the person and the animal,
right.
that's what you want to get. So you're not going to get an animal smiling, but you do have to kind of work with them. So in this case, this is a young man that we know well that lives very close to here,
Okay.
and he loves his horse, Duke. So we're like, okay, we got to get Duke in these shots.
You have to.
And, you can just tell they're almost looking eye to eye at each other. It's nicely
Right.
backlit. He's
Right.
not looking at the camera,
Uh-huh.
but he is totally involved. And then we caught another one of
I
him
love
just
that
walking with his horse. So there's no face shot there, but
It doesn't
it
have to
tells
be.
a story.
It does
Yes.
tell a story.
It tells a story.
We tell stories.
And that's what photography is all about, right?
That is what we try to do.
Right.
This shot
Mhm.
is a young man that we know is highly involved in drama, and so he wanted something
Oh, wow.
on stage, and we tried to kind of
Capture
brainstorm
that.
what that would be. Well, there was no show going on, so we came up with the idea, and actually Pinterest and Googling things is a great way to get ideas. We found some ideas of having a single light coming down on him, having some kind of fog.
Right.
He happened to have a fog machine.
Right, right.
So we have two different pictures. The first one is not necessarily our favorite picture, but it was the idea. It is our creation of the idea. The second one, by putting the light behind his head, creates a totally different mood.
I love this look because he's got is it a guitar?
Yeah, and he taught himself guitar. He's got like
Yes.
5 guitars,
Oh my gosh.
and he's all self-taught. So this is very much his personality.
Right.
Guitars and theater, those are what the things he does.
Question, how many pictures do you take for each shoot? A
Oh.
lot of times 400, 500, 200, 300, right? Or
It's
not?
a good thing it's not on film.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I know.
the nice thing about digital is we can see the reactions immediately and make adjustments. This was a particularly difficult one because the fog was not cooperating,
Right.
and sometimes he was totally covered in fog. So we had to time it just right, and it was a learning opportunity.
It's the same thing when you're doing stuff outdoors, isn't it? Like you're getting the sunrise or you're getting the rain or whatever it may be, right?
It's all about experimenting and changing things and trying different angles. For example, for him, he's backlit, and we had to bring in basically a flashlight on his face to just light up the face.
Oh,
Now,
I know that.
you can have expensive lighting,
Right.
but that worked just enough for this.
Right. I have to share something with you on that shoot that we did down in Florida.
Mhm.
We had 3 people on a couch. We were in a suite. The bed was behind us, right? And we had to move the furniture all the way around just to get the right lighting. And then because the person was African American, really dark,
Yep.
we had to take a lamp and put it underneath him in order to be able to get light for his face. And it was the first time she ever shot anything like that, which was scary.
And that's a very interesting aspect because everyone has a different color,
Right.
skin color.
Right.
The 3 of us have different skin
Right.
colors.
Right.
And African Americans, those, you have very dark people, very light people, and if you overlight them, they become brown and they don't look like themselves.
That's true.
And that is a real challenge for photographers. And we like to play with that because as you start adjusting the colors, you got to keep in mind.
Can you use makeup though?
We never have. That's
No, but we
it's-
did have an interesting shoot. Two best friends. One woman
Yes.
was very, very dark skinned, dark hair, dark eyes, and she wore a black dress.
Of course.
And her friend was blonde hair, fair skin, and a pink top. So she was very bright and light, and the other one dark. And it took some adjustments
Adjusting.
of the lights. So one thing we learned on that one is when we put the light toward the person with the darker skin, that helped to even out some very different skin tones.
And on that note, we need to take a short break, and we'll be right back on Kathryn Raaker's Let's Just Talk. We're back on Let's Just Talk with Michele, Devoe, and Ed Acheson, and we're going to. You're doing a lot of performers, I see. Ed, you want to talk about these next pictures that we're looking at?
Sure. These are actually two of my favorite pictures. This young man here is in the wood shop.
Oh, really?
He was involved in drama, and a lot of his activity, besides some acting, was a lot of the behind the scenes, the technical crew, the stage crew.
Okay.
And what he was after, we shot him earlier outside, but he wanted to go back to the wood shop. So a couple weeks later, we came back in here.
Mm-hmm.
And what's really cool about this, besides the pose, and posing can often be a challenge when you have so much going on.
In the
but
background.
In the background. But the lighting, and so we actually, in this shot, we have a light specifically over here on this sign on the left side that says Footloose, which was one of the shows they did.
Right.
And over here, there's another light just on the toolbox
Oh,
that
wow.
illuminates that. And then there's a light on him.
Mhm.
So I really like that. We have many shots out of this, but the light, getting the lighting set up was not just a challenge, but it was fun. It's problem solving. And that's the
And you're
fun of it.
engineers, both
Yes,
of you.
yes.
Problem solving. Got it.
Now, this other one, this young woman here, was not a planned shot. We were out on a shoot.
Mhm.
This was up in Columbus too,
It was.
and the sprinklers near where we were just went off, the in-ground sprinklers.
Really?
Yes, and we thought this will be interesting. Here's another different type of background. So
Right.
we went over and had her stood in front of it. We did
It
different
looks
lighting.
like, you know what that looks like? Fireworks.
It does a lot. And so you can see this is all backlit by the sun. And then we put a light on her, a flash, a strobe.
Is this
and
during the
lit her.
day?
This is during
Yeah.
the day.
Wow.
Yes.
You wouldn't know it.
And so what's really cool is if we did, so the background's a little overexposed. If we exposed it right, or if it was lower, it wouldn't have that same effect. So it's that balancing. We have different subjects in here that we have to control the light on.
Wow.
And she was very good at posing.
Was
So and very patient.
Most
but-
women are.
Well, she does some modeling now, so
Yes.
that
Of
helped
course,
too.
that
Yes.
helps,
So
right?
this is one of my top 5 pictures that we've taken because of the lighting in the background. And
Mhm.
it's always amazing because we think about where to shoot.
Mhm.
And like many photographers in town, we have a stock list of where we can go to shoot.
Mhm.
But the first question we ask the seniors or anyone is, what do you like? What are you after? What do you want to show in this? Because if we just start taking them places that aren't connected to them, we have that disconnected senior picture standing against a granite wall or a tree, and we don't want that. So there's many interesting backgrounds, but we like it tied to them, to the people we're shooting.
So if they were a baseball fan or they worked as an engineer, you'd want to show some things that they're related to, that they love. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so what's your favorite picture, Michele? Or do you have one that's sitting there?
I think that I would go with this picture of the young man and his horse.
A different horse.
A different horse.
He's a white
He's the
horse.
brother.
Oh,
This
that's
is the
the
brother
brother.
of the other young man.
Right.
And the reason I particularly like this is because we had taken a shoot of the whole family, each of the boys and their horses, everything that they have a farm, and this horse had not been well. It had actually recently been to the hospital. So, and we didn't really know how long she would live.
Did she?
No, she is not.
Aw.
So this is actually a spread
Memory.
from a 2-page and open album spread that we created for him and his family as a memory of his horse, Sterling.
Oh, wow.
So, at the time that he received the book, of course, he was really very, very sad. But this was a happy moment, and it's an overlay of him, kind of on a fall day, and you could just kind of see on the left him interacting with his horse, and he would just go and talk to him, and since we knew the story behind it, it even had more meaning for us as we were putting this together.
Wow. How old was the young man? Do you remember?
I would say 16 at the time.
Oh, wow. And how long did the horse live until, or do you remember?
Less than a year after this.
Oh,
In
that's
fact,
so
we
sad.
actually photoshopped the horse a little bit because she had had surgery and her tummy had been shaved, and we had clipped some of her mane at the time,
To do that.
and so we gave, in some other pictures, we gave the mane hair for the Photoshop, and we kind of cleaned up the belly so that she would look more healthy and more like herself in her
Right.
heyday.
Right. Now, there's some things, is this on the farm over here? I can't say.
This one?
Yes.
This is another young woman, or this is
Right.
a young woman, but more of the environment also. We liked, I remember doing this shoot, and it was a lot of fun. And for us, it's all about the experience. We like having fun. So besides just looking at this in the memory, people will look at this and remember the shoot. And we want them to remember having fun doing it. We
Right.
like having fun, and we know that if we're not, if the people we're shooting don't see us having fun,
Then,
it's not a great experience. It helps them have fun.
I know
And-
that feeling quite well.
So this young woman liked these dirt
Dirt
cars.
bike, they're dirt,
Yes.
more than dirt bikes, they're more of like a dirt,
It's more like a dune buggy without.
like a dune buggy without anything, and she looks like she was a cowgirl kind
Yes.
of thing.
So that's part of this environment here, and this is, I don't know if this is where she rode or just some access where we were able to
Right,
go shooting.
right.
But one of the things I like about this is it's real easy to just put someone in the cockpit and show that.
That's
But
the
having
lovely
them
thing, yeah.
having them sit somewhere else. She's sitting up on this tire.
Right,
She's
right.
leaning back.
Right.
And you can kind of see she's got that connection. She's enjoying herself.
Mm-hmm.
And this other picture is the same woman right near where we were,
Right.
out on abandoned railroad track trestle. Now, you don't shoot on railroad tracks, but if there's no railroad tracks running through it, there's no chance of a train coming through.
Yeah.
So there were no railroad tracks on this bridge. So this is just another, so you can see the cowgirl part. She liked the hat
Right.
and just the expression on her face.
She
To
just
us,
looks so
she's having a
happy.
good time.
Happy.
And when I look at the pictures, I remember when we did these shoots. I remember what was going on, and I have those memories. So we want them to have those memories too.
Right. Now, Michele, you do a lot of things with weddings, am I right?
We do some weddings.
Some
We do
weddings.
some weddings. Weddings can be a little stressful because if you don't catch the
I
moment, nobody wants
know.
to redo it for you.
I know.
So,
I know.
so that's the interesting thing about weddings. But these particular shots, this is a woman that my husband Dan worked with, and she asked if we would shoot the wedding, and they got married down at Washington Park. So that was really fun, and we picked these two pictures because we tried to do something a little bit different. So we have pictures actually of them in the fountain down there, as well as their wedding, which was in the gazebo.
And it's in black and white and
But we
color?
chose, her purple was her color, hands down. So we really wanted to emphasize her flowers, and we liked how the interaction between the two of them, and it was outdoors, so he had his sunglasses on. So it was just something a little bit different instead of a standard black and white or a standard
she
color
looks
picture.
so
it's
happy.
certainly not a standard
No,
wedding picture.
It's not. And I kind of like those because I think that it just is at the moment.
That's
and you
the point.
capture certain things. I mean, our daughter got married in Hawaii, and the pictures that she had done were just so wild and wonderful. We still have all of them, and we love them. And I think that's what it's supposed to be, is a happy experience when you're
Yes.
doing it. And she just looks so joyful.
I think in this picture she looks amazingly joyful, and it's so totally not posed. That's where we find that you really have to look for the reactions, and you can kind of tell when they're coming. You know when something's occurring, and you know if you really want to capture something. To me, the candids say so much more than the posed pictures.
I agree.
And that, I think, is the beauty of this shot.
Wow. I want to invite you to our producer's Halloween house because some of the characters that are in there are just so cool. They do all the makeup themselves. They've been doing it for like I'd say 15, 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And he is such a crazy, wonderful guy that you have to experience the makeup that they do, because it really shows a difference in Halloween and, you know, and those ghostly fun times of events. Do you do that? Would you do that?
Oh,
Oh,
totally.
yes.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Totally.
part of the whole makeup part, since we do drama plays and stuff,
Right.
is watching that progress too.
Right,
And seeing them have the makeup put on.
right. Well, you know, the most exciting thing that I ever did was go to the Cincinnati Ballet and work with Victoria Morgan and go on stage with the ballet stars. I would love to do that again. And I'd love to capture it in pictures, because to me, any creative, wonderful art, you want to get in action. Am I
Mhm.
right? And being a ballet dancer or any type of dancer is tough.
Oh,
But to
yes.
capture them in the act, that's
awesome.
the cool part. We need to take a short break. Would you give your website out, please?
Absolutely. Our website is Devoe Acheson Photography.com.
And we'll be right back after these messages. So we're back on Let's Just Talk with my two favorite photographers, and that is Michele Devoe and Ed Acheson. And actually, since I met you two, I've noticed that every time I see a picture now, I'm looking at lighting, I'm looking at the curvature of everything, their faces, if they look like they have a dimple or they have whatever. And I know that can be touched up with Photoshop. But you're talking about faces now. And tell me what is so exciting about the faces that you're seeing now. I love the colors, the reds and the yellows. They're beautiful. Go ahead.
We like shooting faces. Faces tell a lot of the story. And when you pose people, we do events. If you pose people, it's harder to get that out of them. It's a real skill. But if they are just doing what they're doing and you capture their face, you'll notice a lot of our pictures are very tight on faces. You might
see
not
that.
have a lot of background. And when we do events, we're watching, when we start an event, we're looking for who's going to give us the pictures. Who's looking, who's making faces, what kind of clues do we have to what they're going to do next. So
Right.
sometimes someone, if they're about to do a belly laugh, they might have a little smile and then they let go. And you look for these clues so you can be ready, because no matter how close you are, how close attention, you push that shutter. Once you decide I'm taking it, there's a delay and you miss that picture. So it's all about being ready. When I carry my camera, I have my finger on the shutter and on the focus button, no matter where I am, so that even if I'm not ready to take the picture, my hand is. And we get pictures where we're just pointing and hoping, because we see
Okay.
the action. But most of the time, you got to be ready to bring it up. So we do a lot of events. We do some drama plays for one of the local high schools, LaSalle.
Right.
And this one picture of this girl laughing was just, this is probably one of my top favorite too, because I remember the situation, and I took this one, I know, I'm just watching her, and it was at a stop point in the rehearsal, and she's supposed to sit on somebody's lap. There's many people. There was no lap for her to sit on, and she just suddenly led into that laugh, into that smile. And I was following her, because she is one of the people that has the facial expressions. So you look for the faces. Now, part of that, and I think the same thing here, this one with the various colors.
Red and yellow.
Yes. And it's another moment. You're just waiting for that. A lot of the event is waiting for pictures.
Right.
And capturing. And that's what we like to see, because you can't set this up. It's very hard. Most people can't give you that kind of look. Just say, all right, give it to me. They got to be feeling it and experiencing it.
They have to be going through the experience, right?
Yeah.
Yes. This next one is one we set up with,
Oh.
with the girl looking down. It's an over-the-shoulder shot. And that's one where when you do event photography, it's all about anticipating, seeing where the shot is going to be. What do you want in the background? So you position yourself relative to what you're taking to get you the composition that you want. and then you wait for the action to happen. Or in this particular case, I knew from the rehearsal the night before what was coming.
Okay.
So I pulled a chair up on the stage. I stood up over this guy's shoulder knowing that this was going to happen. I didn't know what it was going to look like.
Yeah, right.
But this was the shot I was looking for. The lighting is great.
Uh-huh.
The next night I did the same thing. It was terrible lighting. So you just have to be ready for all of it.
Now, what is she doing on the expression on her face? That's what I'm a little puzzled
This
about.
is actually from the play Godspell.
Okay.
And this is a very somewhat serious moment in the play.
Okay.
I can't remember the exact what was going on, but I remember it was a very serious.
The guy she's
Yes.
looking at is Jesus.
Oh.
So, but a lot of what we do is about anticipating, when you do events, anticipating. You can't control the setting, you can't control the lighting, you can control where you are and when you take the picture. And to do that, you have to watch people. You have to know what's coming or anticipating.
Right.
You mentioned, for example, for the ballet.
Right.
In shooting ballet, you need someone who knows what ballet is like. If
That's
we went
right.
to shoot ballet, we wouldn't be very good at it.
Right.
Until, I imagine once we got into it and understood and could see what's happening over the course of a lot of watching and stuff.
It was
But-
it was like that for me when I first went out on the stage with him, because I knew I had taken ballet, but I had never experienced some of the things that they were doing.
How cool.
And it was standing in the background of the stage, which is really different. It's like you're on the stage, but you're in the back part of the stage and you're watching them, and it's really cool.
Yeah, that would be exciting.
That was exciting. But what's this one on the bottom? Talk to me about that. It's a dancing moment.
This is a dancing moment, and she has the girl in the middle, it's just a frozen moment where at the end of this song, that's what they're doing. And to me, I just love the expression on her face. And there are many pictures like this where and I can't even tell you about the rest of them because it's the one in the middle.
That's
Now-
the one you're concentrating
Yes,
on.
and there are rules, quote, rules in photography, the rule of thirds, right?
Right.
And what I always like about the rule of thirds is they say follow the rule of thirds unless you don't, basically. Not
and you know
every
where
picture
and you
should
know where
have-
my eye would go?
Where?
Tell me where you think my
Well,
eye
it
went.
could go up here.
No, it didn't.
For me, it goes here, but where does
No.
your eye?
It goes to her.
Goes to the different colored dress.
That's right.
Yes.
That dress is so appealing.
Good.
And doesn't everybody look at a picture differently, or am I wrong?
Oh, yes.
Or it's a piece of art. It is a piece of art.
It is a piece of art. Absolutely.
And so when you look at it, everybody gets a different feel for it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And in fact, one of the cool things is we do photography merit badge, and in the presentation
Scouts.
for Boy Scouts.
For Boy
sorry,
Scouts.
yes.
Okay.
And one of the presentations we make is there is a famous National Geographic cover of an
Right.
Afghan refugee. I don't know
Oh,
if you remember that one.
I love that one.
It's in the eyes. And we start off with a clip of the eyes, and we ask people, tell us about this person from the eyes. What do you see? And you get this wide range from kids. Oh, it's this or this. Then you kind of bring it a little bit farther out. Tell us what you see now. And then you can show the whole thing and tell the backstory. And fortunately, about 10 years ago, they have a picture of what she looked like then. And you can kind of lead them through. So what story did those eyes tell you? And what was reality? And it tells you, everyone sees it differently. And they look for different things. They bring their own experience there.
Right. And you know, that's funny because when I lived in Turkey and Singapore, I worked with photographers and framers. And those are the most exciting pictures that I brought back with me, that I've shared with you.
Mm-hmm.
And those pictures tell a story of their lives and what their culture's all about, I think. And the one that I love the most is this woman looking out this window. She's a Muslim woman who's looking out the window, and it's just so beautiful. The colors are so beautiful. I mean, it doesn't capture her every feeling, and that's kind of what you do, right?
That's what we're after.
That's what you're after.
Some of the
Right.
other moments here.
Oh, I love
this
that
one
one.
here. This is from another drama shot from Adam's Family,
Okay.
and that's all about waiting for it to happen. And that's my favorite shot from last year.
Wow. Wow. I see that you love plays.
We do. We do.
I do too. You have to like drama. You have to look at their pictures. And, you know, you can tell a really good actress by her facial expressions.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Oh,
It's
yes.
also interesting, there's many things, we actually kind of helped the director with a few comments because we realize sometimes a picture is or isn't good. If everyone is totally into the moment, it's good. If somebody's eyes are off looking in a strange area,
Right.
it's like, well, you know, do you realize this person's not totally into their role?
Right.
And that helps them to actually do a better job. But because we could capture the moment, we can see things that you wouldn't
Yeah,
necessarily
and
perceive.
you're kind of a director in a sense yourself, Michele, when you're working with someone because you're telling them, "Oh, your eyes down. We did this."
Yeah, we do have to provide a little, you know, you don't know how you look. Sometimes just a little bit of a change of angle. Or
Right.
bringing your chin down puts more focus on your eyes.
Mhm.
And since I think it's all about the eyes, that's kind of
That's
important
right.
to me.
That's right. And I think when you have somebody like yourself or Ed to work with, it's a lot easier because I like action moments myself. And because we do a lot of action on our shows and stuff like that, you know, there's certain things that we do. And on that note, we're just about out of time on this segment. So when we come back, we're going to talk about what we did
Yes.
with
Perfect.
me in photography and what we're going to be using it for. And we'll be
Excellent.
right back on Let's Just Talk with Michele Devoe and Ed Acheson. Your website, Ed.
It is Devoe Acheson Photography.com.
And we'll be right back. We're back on Let's Just Talk, and I love talking about photography because it's so fun. And we have with us two top photographers in my eyes, and that is Michele Devoe and Ed Acheson. And I have to tell you, when I called you up, because I've always wanted you to do this with me, and because we have to change our photos all the time for television and radio and all the different things that we do with our clients and everything else. Well, I have clients that have product, and you're learning product, right?
Yes.
And you have a wonderful gentleman that you work with that's teaching you, a young guy who's really good.
Really
He's
good.
very sharp.
AJ, we'll say his name, AJ. And the cool thing about that shoot was the idea that the product is really, and the brand is really what's important. So we are going to use these shots that you did
Mhm.
in a whole campaign. We're going to do a billboard, you know, like kind of a billboard above in the stores, okay, on you know, the grommet, you know, whatever you call that. And we're going to be doing, I really love this, our recipe cards. And so the pictures that you took of me with my chef coat on, or AJ and you did, those are going to go on the cards with the product on the other end. And then on the back of the card is, and I think I want to superimpose, and I want to talk to you guys about that, superimpose some shadow of the product with the recipes. There's going to be two
Nice. Oh, I
see.
recipes. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I like those background shots because it gives the recipe card a little different look.
Yes.
And I love that. So let's talk a little bit about the challenge, me, and what we did, okay, on shooting me, not just product, but go ahead. And it's not going to hurt my feelings, so go right at it.
Well, I'll start, since I'm more of the technical side.
Okay,
Is anytime you come to a new environment, particularly in somebody's home,
right,
you're always looking for what can you shoot here, and
Right.
how much space do you have? Can you get your lighting where you need it?
right.
And just like we talked beforehand, and you all put over your microwave something to keep the glare down. Those
That's
are the
right.
kind of things you're looking for
Right.
that can really make a shoot difficult. But
Did it look all right?
Oh yes.
Well, you know, it was really funny because I was seeing it because we do television shows, and I kept seeing this glare, and every time I would say, let's get rid of this glare.
But-
And then I talked to you.
But you know what's interesting? Just like for that one shot, we used a little handheld flashlight.
Yeah.
When we talked, I'm thinking, well, what kind of film can you put over it? And those are expensive films, and just a black sheet of paper works fine.
construction paper
Yeah.
that I
Sometimes
got
it's the
for
easiest thing.
99 cents.
Yes, so the problem solving
Right.
is, and that's a lot of what the photo shoot's about, is problem
Right.
solving.
Right.
From the lighting standpoint, even the positioning. And I'll let you talk more about the shots themselves, because a lot of it, you notice with AJ, we like working with him because I think he looks everything, whenever he looks anywhere, he's got, lighting goes here, and as he looks around the room, it's here,
Right.
here. I mean, it just
Right.
pops into his mind. And we like the problem-solving part of it. How do we get what we want out of this? Because you have this
Right.
vision. Now, I think one of our favorite phrases in for product shots,
Mhm.
more so than if you're shooting people, start with the end in mind. How are you going to use the shot?
Right.
Because that
Yeah.
tells you what you
That's a
want to
good
shoot.
point.
It makes a lot of difference. I know exactly when I take on a client. I know exactly what I want to do. So that's the reason why I like working with photographers and graphic designers, because
They can visualize.
I'm a visual person. And when I see something, I want to be able to actually have that person do it. So we are running out of time, so I want to talk about what we did with me.
Right, so one of the things is, when we're in a room, we see the whole room, and when we are shooting a product or a person, we want the focus to be just on that. So sometimes you'll actually see somebody kind of do this, and, so that you can focus your mind.
Right.
And that is what we can do in our mind without necessarily putting our fingers in front of our faces.
Right.
But with the product shot, it was a bit about getting nice even lighting. We got a
Right.
nice reflective surface.
Right.
We kind of look around, okay, what are the tools in our toolbox? What do we have available to us?
Right.
And how do we make the best use of them? And then likewise, when we were shooting you, we want to make sure that we have good lighting. We wanted your personality to show.
Right.
So if you were just holding something up in front of you,
Mhm.
which I can't imagine because you're so perky and happy and full of spunk anyway, I don't think you could just sit there.
Yeah.
But there are lots of people, Kathryn,
That would.
that could.
That could.
Okay,
Not me.
and so for them,
Despite the fact that
drawing
you don't
out,
want them to.
Right.
drawing out
Right.
that energy is not always easy to do.
Right.
Sometimes we have to resort to doing some pretty goofy stuff just to get them to do
Right,
more
to
than
do
their
whatever
camera
they-
smile.
Right.
But for you, it's just a twinkle in the eye, maybe pulling the shoulders up, and
And I
getting
love
you-
to do this thing.
Right.
I love to do that.
So what
Don't ask me
worked
why. I
is
do.
we had you moving
Right.
so that we could, and it does show a little bit of action, because if you sat there for a full minute while we snapped a few shots, it looks very stagnant. Whereas when you were kind of bringing it up to your face.
I love that. I
it
think
was
it's
fun for
telling you
you,
that you love it.
and it's a better product,
Right. Right.
And that's what I see when I'm behind the camera,
Mhm.
and then I rely on Ed to make sure that we've got the lighting right, if we need a reflector, to do those things.
I love the one that we did on the steps
Mhm.
because I love.
Well,
going
people
down
do
the
better with
stairs.
props.
Right.
That's
I
another
do.
thing. If you have nothing to hold on to and you don't know what to do with your hands,
It's hard.
it's really, really
You can
difficult.
take those pictures with your cell phone.
Yeah.
So people you're getting the picture of the person, you're getting the story when people have something to do.
And the one thing that I loved, that one long coat that I have that you
Mhm.
took a picture of, that's a long story in itself. I wore that
Absolutely.
to the Robin Williams event
Oh,
that I
yeah.
went to, and I wanted to make an entrance.
Right, and so we wanted, in
And
order
it
to
did.
capture
It
that,
did.
we
Right.
made sure that we got up high so that we could have the focus on your face,
Uh-huh.
but the whole coat could show so that we didn't cut it off, because what's magnificent about the coat, besides the design,
Right.
is
The length
the
of it.
shape, the
Oh,
length.
It's so colorful. And the other one that you didn't see, I wish I still had this. I had, when I lived I had a television show up in Newburyport. And I had a company that used to give me the clothing, and they gave me this gorgeous red. I love red.
I know
And
that.
yeah, and they said, "Why don't you be the mysterious woman coming in red?" So they gave.
Oh.
I had a red hat. I had this gorgeous red coat and a beautiful scarf. And I walked in, and they went, "Who's that lady in red?" And that's what you want to do, right?
Mhm.
That's a picture I'd want to take, but you don't have it anymore.
I don't have it, but I'll
Oh.
find a red coat.
Okay.
I do have a red coat.
That-
We can
that
do
sounds-
that. We can
that
do
sounds
that.
fun.
You know that we've run out of time.
It went fast.
I told you it was going to, so I'm going to invite you to come back.
Okay, we'd love to.
Can we do that?
Sure.
Yes.
I would love to bring you on my shoots with me because it's a lot of fun where we go. Absolutely. So, if you would give your websites again,
It is DevoeAchesonPhotography.com.
and if you really want a great picture, you have to call them. What's your phone number?
It is 513-349-5920.
And guess what? They travel, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So
Absolutely.
just because you have that 513 number doesn't mean anything. They'll go anywhere, right, in the world.
We
Yes.
were in Florida last month.
Yeah, you never know. So we will see you next time on Kathryn. Thank you very, very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having
We've
us.
enjoyed being
And
here.
it's just been a ball, and I can't wait to have you back again for Kathryn Raaker's World. Okay?
Okay.
And we'll see you next time on Kathryn Raaker's Let's Just Talk.